Welcome back to another episode of Grounded with DillyDave. Today, we're vibing at Red Betty's bar, diving deep into the world of Shynin Armour, a rapper who's been making waves from the shores of South Africa to the bustling streets of Melbourne. Before we jump into the episode, we've got some quick housekeeping. Just a reminder that this podcast will release 2 episodes a week on Wednesday and Sunday afternoon, 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. There is also a Spotify playlist called Grounded Tunes that will contain music from guests of the podcast. I encourage you to check it out to get the full Grounded experience. Now for today's guest. Hailing from South Africa and deeply rooted in the boom bap sounds, Shynin Armour is not just any MC. He's a storyteller, a lyrical genius, and a force to be reckoned with in the Melbourne underground hip-hop scene. With a presence that's undeniable, he's taken the city's music scene by storm, leaving an indelible mark with every beat and rhyme. In this episode, we explore Shynin Armour's journey, from his early hip-hop days in South Africa, being tested in different scenes, and his current mission down under in Melbourne. Drawing from life's highs and lows, his music tells a story that's both personal and relatable, making him a standout in the world of hip-hop. With a staggering 7 albums and a mixtape to his name, there's no shortage of tracks to get lost in. Dive into his rich catalog on Spotify and experience the raw energy and passion that Shynin brings to the table. Sit back, relax, and let this episode take you on a journey from South Africa to Melbourne, all through the lens of hip-hop. Let Shynin's story inspire and entertain you. And remember everybody, stay grounded.
Woohoo! Word up.
Alright, here we go, back at it. Welcome, beings of the multiverse, to another episode of Grounded with DillyDave, aka the Milky Bar Kid. Today I'm joined by Shynin Armour.
What up, brother?
Thank you for coming down today.
Yeah.
Joining us to hopefully get ourselves and others grounded, finding common ground, sharing it, talking about it. How's the feels today? What's happening?
It's one of those days. It's raining.
Yeah.
It wasn't raining earlier, so you know how the day gets. Just have to wing it as you go, man. It's a good day. It's a productive day. It's a good day. Can't complain.
Do you get affected by the weather pretty easily? Does it impact you much? Or?
It doesn't impact me. It impacts my daughter, and that impacts me. so it kind of does.
Right.
You know, yeah, because how her moods actually, flip the whole day determines how my day goes. You know, so if the weather's not so great, then she's my best sign to know that. The weather's not good. She's always up on something, bro. Constantly winging it, But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she is not a fan of the rain, or is that what happens?
I think it's because it's a new life for her. So she's experiencing new things at that age, like 9, 10 months.
Yeah.
So she sees rain, but she
thinks
doesn't.
It's a storm.
You know what I mean? So you never really know what she's going through when the weather changes. But she can be pretty grumpy, or just depends. Just depends on how it is, and you just constantly looking at how she reacts to the weather from the previous day. If it was hot, then she's all happy, and and then it's raining and it's gloomy, and then she becomes all sad and crying, and you don't know what's going on,
Right, yeah. Raising a real Melburnian out here.
Hey, straight up, bro. Hardcore. An original.
Yes, an OG. Born with a rain jacket and swimming trunks as
bro.
well.
I keep saying to myself, the day we go to South Africa, she might not even handle the weather there.
Yeah.
Because she's so used to the white hair,
Yeah, imagine it'd be a massive difference in climate and stuff.
Should be.
So before we get really deep into whatever it is,
the
general chat and powwow, this is Grounded with DillyDave. A great way to get grounded is to acknowledge the sacred ground that we're on and that we're recording on. Yeah. So I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians, combination of the Boonwurrung and the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation is kind of where I've been operating at the moment. So just like to acknowledge them and, their land.
Yeah.
Also like to pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and just give the sentiment that sovereignty was never ceded, treaties weren't signed, and I think it's important to have a level of awareness around that when we share our own stories.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, it's sad, to be honest with you. What went down is just sad, I relate to it, and at the same time I don't have power to control it. It affects me indirectly or directly, but it hurts to know that the people of the land don't have a voice about what happens on their land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, after so long, it being, their terrain, their worlds.
It's been forever.
Yeah.
Since day one.
Yeah, legitimately one of the OGs in the game of humanity.
The
First Nations of Australia.
They don't have a say in anything. Anything. Like, literally. Right. It's sad.
Yeah. Because, sure, there's something to be said about what can be done within a community, but if that community is too isolated or is not backed by any kind of resource or support, then there's a lack of power that's happening there.
It's almost like they'd rather have them extinct.
Yeah, to not even worry about.
That's the plan, to get them forgotten about in the history of this land.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about it. Like, you can't forget the people who were here before everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good attempt for a couple 100 years there of trying to really erase what was happening. And I guess we certainly still see signs and evidence of that, in the current day. But so much has been wiped.
And these are the same people who are actually trying so hard to wipe them out in whatever way they are trying, still step into platforms where they are more vocal than them, and then have the courage to say statements or things like, we commemorate the past, present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you get, like you're saying, you don't want them to have a voice, but then yet you still
do these virtue signaling acts.
What does that mean?
In this attempt to appear good when the intention or the execution or the output or the result doesn't really match or align with that.
What's the end game to that? Because okay, let's say for instance, finally they are wiped out and they're no longer there. Is that still gonna continue? Using their land and giving commemoration to their land and their ancestors and.
Well, I think that's a way to, in a way, Loki, get away with it, right? Like that's this. It's an illusion. It's barely a symbolic gesture, right? Yeah. It's more just it's more like housekeeping for them. Yeah. It's just like, we'll get this little busy job out of the way. Yeah. And we don't have to think about it. Yeah. Which, you bring that back to me during the introduction at the start of my podcast. Yeah. There's certainly, there's some thoughts behind it. Like, okay, well, what does that actually do? What is the actual point of that? Are you doing it just because it's what other people do? Or are you doing it because you want to kind of keep those people, ideas, and culture alive and remembered,
True.
So, it can be tough to really understand when people, have an acknowledgement, or, whether it's actually filled with good intent, or is it just a throwaway kind of gesture? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tricky one.
Certainly is. So, You've come from, is it Swata? How do you pronounce the place you came from South Africa? Soweto.
Yeah.
Soweto.
Southwestern Township. It's an abbreviation of Southwestern Township.
Oh, that's what it
Soweto,
is. Okay,
yeah.
and you were from Meadowlands.
Meadowlands.
Hey.
It's almost, it's like Glenroy, Coburg.
Okay.
Yeah. So Meadowlands has got like I'd say 11 mini suburbs.
Yeah. Is that how a lot of South Africa's set up, like a combination or grouping of little suburb towns brought together, and then they have their own little names, or how does that kind of work?
So how Soweto was built up. Firstly, it was a place created to move. They moved black people out of the city,
Right.
Johannesburg.
Yeah.
And they built Soweto. And there was the first township built in Soweto was Orlando. And then after Orlando, there was Dube, and then Meadowlands. Meadowlands is the biggest township in Soweto.
Okay.
So they moved people doing the segregation acts.
Right.
Meaning that when they placed you in a certain area, that's where your culture
Was confined.
Yeah, so they'd put like your Zulus in one area, your Sutus in one area.
Yeah.
And everybody would have different languages. Like in Meadowlands itself, they're called zones. There's zone 1 to 10.
Wow.
And within zone 1 to 10, that's where you find Zulus, Tswana, Pedi, Xhosa, Shangaan. All these cultures are divided in those areas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did that what did that look like on the ground? Did that work at all? The kind of grouping of those different.
It depends it depends on how what they were trying to achieve when they did that. Because when back in the days before they moved people to Soweto, everybody, like a household, for instance,
Yeah.
in Sophia Town was almost like the black section in Johannesburg.
Mm-hmm.
Where this is where they ended up moving everybody to go to Soweto.
Right.
So in Sophia Town, a household would probably have kids or families, around 6 families in one household.
Yeah.
And that's different languages in one household.
That's insane.
So that was to almost like they tried to separate. It was almost like a divide and conquer type of situation that happened.
Right.
Removing them from a space where the kids don't grow up knowing too much.
Right, knowing what a city is, kind of what happens in, I guess, the marketplace.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, imagine this: a kid raised in a household of 6 different languages and 6 different cultures and 6 different traditions, and they grow up knowing more than one thing, so they become even more smarter than your average because they know how to speak 6 different languages growing up. And when the fathers are at work, the mothers are teaching the kids.
Okay.
So if a Zulu mother is out, then the Zulu kids would go and chill with the Tswana mother, and now they are learning how to do Tswana traditions and customs and how to eat, talk, and
yeah, so those kids were becoming actually a lot more well-rounded, even though that was not the intention.
Yeah,
okay.
So it became a thing of, we need to separate these people, divide and conquer. Soweto, let's create this place, move them all there, and just keep them there. And then they can only move when they go to work.
Right.
And you had to have a pass to leave Soweto and come back in. It had to be stamped. And if you were caught on the street when people are at work, you'd go to jail. Because what are you doing? Why are you walking around?
Yeah. And I imagine it was heavily patrolled and militarized, all those areas.
It was heavy. Even there was a forced removal of people in Johannesburg, in Sophia Town.
Right.
They were forcefully moved from Sophia Town to Soweto. And this happens at think about it, 3:30, 4 a.m. People are sleeping.
Oh yeah, and
it just becomes a whole bomb rush of get out.
Yeah, I guess that's whole part of the fear tactics and stuff.
Which they used every day.
Yeah.
You know? So that's how Soweto was formed.
Yeah.
And
so your family was living in Johannesburg before?
Yeah, my family.
Your mum?
My mom was raised in Soweto.
Yeah. Okay.
My grandmother is originally from the Free State, but moved to Johannesburg because of work.
Right.
And then those historical events were happening around her time mostly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Did your family or did your grandmother talk about it? Like
yeah. I was the one grandchild who used to poke at her just to find information.
Right.
How did she survive through certain events of the history?
Yeah.
It wasn't easy for her at all. But, she's 93 since, 3 weeks ago? So she's still at it.
Still kicking hard.
She's still kicking hard and
built different.
Happy to be, a great grandmother.
Yeah. Continuously passing on the wisdom and the stories.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Def.
So you've been in Melbourne for about a year? About a year. How's it been? Tell us a bit about the lead up to coming over here, and then how you kind of what happened when you first hit the ground and setting up your family in a new home and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, to be honest with you. Before I got here, there were stereotypes that, you go to that place, there's racism, there's so many things that are going to be against your skin color or this, that. You know what I mean? But then half the time when I get information like that, it's always a thing of, have you been there?
Right. They just heard it from somebody else.
Who did you hear it from?
Yeah.
And were they there? Okay, you know what? Let me go find out. I'll be back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get here, and then I got here with all those stereotypes and suggestions and opinions of people who have never been here to find that it's just like any other country.
Right.
If racism exists, it exists everywhere else. If crime exists, it exists everywhere else.
Yeah.
Corruption, it exists everywhere else.
Totally.
So,
they're universals.
Yeah, they always there.
Yeah.
It depends on which wolf you would rather feed.
Yeah,
to
true.
get to what you're looking for. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, if racism were to hit, or you see a sign of racism, if you entertained it, it becomes a thing.
Yeah, you're kind of giving it attention and life.
Yeah, you give it a life.
Yeah.
But if you move on, the person who's trying to start, are we allowed to swear here?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah. just making sure.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, whoever's trying to start any kind of tension or whatever, they don't get your attention. They look like the fools. They feel crappy about. Damn, I didn't get a response.
Right.
What's the other word that I can use? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get your attention, but you're not giving it to them. So, I to be honest with you, if I've met any of the stereotypes that were feeded, that I was fed before arriving here, if I've met any, I don't think I've given them that much time for me to actually see them in full action. You know what I mean? Australia is a dope place, man. I've met people like you. I've met a lot of people who are vibrant and out there and are doing things, and that encourages me to actually see an even better side of Australia.
Yeah.
Not to say none of the stuff will ever not happen to me. It will when it happens.
Sure.
And how it happens will all determine on how much I give into whatever is happening.
Yeah, because you can surrender and give it power, give it life, or you can leave it in the past.
True.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
So I got here and I looked for hip hop. That was the first thing I kind of wanted to do.
Yeah. And how does one coming out from somewhere else? How do you look? Are we talking about Googling Melbourne hip hop, or how did you look for it?
I would say that's how I started.
Yeah.
I searched up Australian hip hop. I saw all sorts of videos, like especially the latest, your like drill sound.
Yep.
And I was trying to figure out, okay, there's drill here, but where's that boom bap? You know, now I'm starting to look around.
It's not as loud.
Yeah, it's not out there. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, it makes sense that it's not because of the times we live in. You know, commercial music, that sound is everywhere. So there's no way it's not that easy for you to look for hip hop. It's like a rare vinyl, that hardcore boom bap hip hop. You have to go to the vinyl shop, search through the decks there and find that, you know.
Dig the crates.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it became a whole thing like that. I was like, okay, since the internet is showing me this, let me see if I can go out and find. And then I started looking for events that hold down hip-hop shows.
Yeah.
And the first event that I went to was the Onyx event when Onyx came through last year at Laundry Bar.
Laundry, yeah, right.
That was my first hip-hop event
cool.
when I got here.
That seems pretty serious, pretty legit.
Yeah. I what made me gravitate to it was, one, it's Onyx.
Hey.
So I knew whoever was going to go see Onyx listens to the kind of hip-hop I do. There's no doubt. No commercial guy can just go listen to Onyx.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, this particular mindset that you kind of
you know,
need
so I was
going
like,
into
okay,
it.
I'm going to connect when I get there. And then, I had met Onyx in South Africa before.
Oh, no shit. So pre-existing kind of bit of rapport.
Yeah, because there was a hip-hop event that happens annually in South Africa,
Right.
called Back to the City.
Ah, okay.
So they performed at Back to the City a couple of years back. So when I saw Onyx after the show, I was like, yo, guys, what's up? And Fredo was like, yo, you that dude from Africa?
Hey.
I was like, yeah, that's me. And he kind of like introduced me to a few of the guys around in the room.
Yeah. And this was at Laundry that night?
This was at Laundry that night. He introduced me to Lil Jace.
Yeah. Lil Jace, yeah.
Yeah, he introduced me to Lil Jace. He introduced me to the Posse Shot guys.
Yep.
There's a guy who does the beats as well. He's one of the two. I forgot his name.
I don't know the names.
His name. But yeah, the Posse Shot guys.
Okay.
And yeah, a couple of other peeps there. And yeah, from then on, I was actually rolling with the Yankee. Yankee Lee is a videographer.
Yeah, totally. Shout outs Yankee Lee.
Shout out to Yankee Lee. He takes dope videos and photos.
And he's a dope rapper as well.
Yeah,
he can hold it down.
Yeah. So he's the first connection to hip hop before the Onyx gig.
Right. So you guys are kind of messaging a little bit.
Yeah, because I met him 2 weeks after I got here.
Yeah.
And then after that 2 weeks, he hit me up. Yo, there's a Halloween party. Do you want to go? Like, yeah. Is it hip hop? Like, yeah, there's hip hop. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then that's the night I met you.
Hey.
I met Kudos.
Yep.
I met Ruckman. I met
Kai.
Yeah, Kai.
Yeah.
I met almost everybody that I'm now close with today.
Totally, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I invited Yankee to the Onyx gig.
Yeah,
and then he was
yeah.
taking footage of
Ooh.
Basically, let me tell you something that I haven't actually been saying.
Yeah, let me
when
hear
I
it.
got here and met Yankee, we started a shooting a
Doco?
you could say, called Looking for Hip Hop in Australia.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And we shot like a good 6 episodes of that.
No shit.
I just haven't dropped them.
Oh, so they're up ready to go and
They're just chilling.
Wow.
And funny enough, we've been still doing a lot of other things.
yeah.
And that's part of just documenting this whole thing. So I'm thinking eventually when my head is like, okay, I think it's time we can do it.
Yeah.
It will be just one full episode about me coming to Australia. And this is how I found everything and everyone.
I think that would be so interesting, you know, for people who are, you know, from Melbourne, Australia or anywhere, like how somebody finds and gets into it, because not only is that, I think for a lot of artists who aren't heavy on socials and who aren't like streaming everywhere where they are, I think, you know, it's quite a vulnerable space and you might not be so keen on like having all of that footage and visual around that. But I think it just shows how proactive both you and Yankee are to be like, you know what, this is an opportunity, this is a story, this is something. Let's capture it.
I think he also didn't get it. Only after like the third or fourth, he noticed that we were onto something.
Yeah.
And then things were kind of like changing into a different dynamic, and now just moving around looking for hip hop like we did, kind of like came to a pause, because now there was new things that now we were interested in, and we kind of like shifted attention from what was happening to the bigger picture, and now we found ourselves more active in so many things that it's not even easy for me to just call him up and be like, yo, let's go do this, you know, because he's also now caught up in his world, and it's all based around the things that we both love. You know, he loves shooting, being an MC at a club, just, you know. Yeah. So we're now trying to find time to meet up, but then we still do. And when we meet up, it's like, yo, let's catch up. How you doing, man? You know, kind of situation.
There's you know, there's some people that you link up with, and like the friendship or whatever it is isn't necessarily based on hanging out. It's a bit more based on like being out and there in the thick of it, especially if you're a creative. You know, you want to find other people who are kind of doing the thing, and because it gives you a really good excuse to engage with that. Yeah.
No, that's true.
Do you feel like you've been lucky with you know, your entrance, who you kind of ran into, and how it all happened, or do you feel like, you know, you came in with a certain level of intention and maybe a little bit of, you know, organizing your mind to kind of make manifest some of this?
I think I manifested most of the relationships, even the things that are happening now, because I knew what I wanted. You know, when you know what you want, so many other opportunities open up. Yeah. Because you know what you want and you know how to move. So when you find yourself in a space or an opportunity that you've pre-created, it's easy to spot the people who are part of that opportunity.
Right, because you've primed yourself and the spaces around you to see those patterns or signs. Know what I mean?
And at the same time, I'm very curious. I'm a very curious person, especially even when I meet people. I want to know about you. What do you do? And how do you do it here in Australia? Yeah. And, you know, how does it work for you? So I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. I talk to everyone. I think you've noticed I'm constantly talking to strangers half the time. I can go to a party alone and chill, you know? So
that's interesting because, you know, I guess like most interviews or podcasts, people talk about like the origin of the name. But, you know, the front end of Shynin Armour is shy. I'm wondering, is that just like because you like messing around letters, or do you actually used to have some quality of being shy and you've kind of worked on that? You know, what's the story behind Shynin Armour?
The shy does represent a shy part of me. I just through the years worked hard on my confidence, and my confidence kind of like now protects the shyness, and it's like out there, like, yo, how you doing? Hey, you good? You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm genuinely a shy guy half the time, you know?
Right. So So it was kind of the idea. Look, I'm just making assumptions here. You can correct me, but you know, Shynin Armour is hip hop and music the armor that you can use to build this confidence to go out and do your thing? Is this kind of like the idea that's happening, or?
You know, with the name thing is very. It's a rapper's thing. I think as a rapper, you probably even end up changing your name 7-8 times trying to get the right name.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with my name, I think I had a couple of names before Shynin Armour. Even Shynin Armour, when I got to it, I used to call myself Knight in Shynin Armour.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Knight in Shynin Armour. I'm like, that's a cool name.
Look at ourselves a romantic over here.
You know what I mean? And then it got to a point where I was sitting to myself. I'm like, yeah, Knight in Shynin Armour is a dope name. But then knights always die.
Yeah. It's a beautiful sacrifice for the cause.
True.
But yeah.
Knights always die, but the Shynin Armour always remains. As dented as it is. And it's been through all war stories. But when the knight dies, the armor is always there.
That's kind of that's a really cool idea and concept.
So I was like, shit, you know what? I'm not a knight.
So it's almost like even after you're done with the armor, it's going to end up on a mantle for somebody else to take and use appropriately.
Yeah, whether it's my works, whether it's my music, whether it's how I moved.
Yeah.
The memory of Shynin Armour will remain as and however it always, remains in stories or folk tales or story tales, because you never really know who Shynin Armour or the knight in Shynin Armour is.
Yeah.
You just know that they exist or existed.
Right.
And they works.
The armor's symbolic of the people, but you don't necessarily know the face behind. That's crazy. Was there any kind of because with your earlier album arts, incorporating some armor and some kind of like Spartan aesthetic and all that kind of stuff, was there a particular ancient army or historic army that really kind of that you really liked, that you kind of like dug? Did you ever geek out on any that kind of like?
I used to watch a lot of those movies, but I never really knew the armies per se.
Right.
I loved the medieval stories of even the knights. I just loved the idea around having knights around the round table.
They're exactly.
You know what I mean? Even when I created a crew called SCF, it was a crew of like seven rappers, 2 beat makers, and then we had 3 ladies who were helping us out with the admin, the management, and whatnot.
Yeah.
So for me, when we sat on the table, I felt like we were knights. They didn't know that. I knew it because I was the idea. I came up with the idea.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see it in a specific way.
Yeah, it's a council without the hierarchy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it was for me. It was just like, this is so cool. Just putting people together and breaking bread and making moves and just creating monumental moments for ourselves.
Yeah.
It was just,
Yeah, these epic, heroic moments, I guess.
Yeah. So, and then it comes to the album covers. It kind of like, you almost see through the album covers how I shed the night.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was very interesting.
The first one, it's the night in Shynin Armour and standing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but I had already moved the night. But in the lyrics, when you hear it, I'm still using myself as knight in Shynin Armour.
Yeah.
And then on the second one has the Spartans.
Yep.
Where now it's more, and bear in mind the album covers were actually reflecting my emotions and how I felt on the projects.
Interesting.
Because the first one is called Wrong, RONG.
Yeah.
Raging on Neutral Grounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so talk us through that.
So basically, I created a trilogy.
Yeah.
My first 3 albums are a trilogy.
Wrong, Rough,
and Rugged.
Rugged, yeah.
And the first one is Raging on Neutral Grounds. That's why you find the knight there just standing there. And it's about to be war, but you're not sure. Is he chilled? Is he angry?
Calm before the storm kind of feel.
You know what I mean? And then the second one is called Rough. RUFF. Releasing Underground's Frustrated Forces.
Yeah, right. Some angst.
Now you see the Spartans now going in and they, now they're attacking.
Yeah, the action.
Kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially those 2 projects, they express how I came in, how I felt about the game. And then after releasing that project, how people responded to my music. The gatekeepers, I was now facing things that I never thought existed. And I put all that stuff on. That's why releasing Underground's Frustrated Forces, because I was frustrated on how I'm dropping dope music, but it's not being played on radio.
Right.
What kind of criteria or red tapes are there out there that, it's not easy for you to just blow up like I thought it would be.
Right. People aren't just handing out free passes or
You know
whatever.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Rugged, when I dropped Rugged, my mind state was just, I was done with just fighting the red tapes and all of that. I just decided, you know what? Clearly it's not about what I thought it was. Let me create music. Let me just enjoy making music and expressing myself without really focusing so much on trying to be the artist.
Yeah, or being a resistance fighter or fighting
or
the powers that be or angry.
Or you know what I mean? Let me create music. Let's see how that goes. And so before I dropped that last piece, I had a pre-EP before that called The Arrival. On The Arrival, that's where you start hearing my transition into starting to make music that is timeless. Now it's about, you know, spreading the message, having a message.
Right.
My stories turned into great music.
You were freed up to be able to pursue that instead of being weighed down by the other stuff.
You know, because I mean, growing up, you want to get a record deal, you want to be on TV, you want this, that, because that's what all you could see on TV. So it was like, okay, my favorite rappers are on TV, man. I also want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But then after those two projects, something just switched in me like, dude, you are as good as they are. You don't need approval or validation for who you are and the kind of music you're doing.
Yeah.
You're actually a great musician.
And maybe you don't need that platform.
You don't need that platform.
Yeah.
How about you just do music and try and get it out there the way you think is best for the music. And you can hear it through my music. Like, even when I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, I was so angry here. Damn, I was extremely angry here.
Right.
But here, there's calmness. There's a change of character. Like, there's now a mature version of me. And you can, from that point on, you could actually feel it for the rest of the albums. That now there's a different Shynin Armour. The first two was Night in Shynin Armour. He was angry.
He was combat ready.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then this one is a different artist overall. You know, even the way I started moving, you could actually see that it was no longer about trying to get the industry's attention.
What did it look like on the ground floor in the particular scenes and pockets that you were kind of operating in? Like, because I guess we're talking somewhere between 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Between 2000 and 2000 and 2015.
Okay, so 5 albums and a mixtape. 7 albums. I'm so sorry. But yeah, like what did it look like entering that scene and kind of figuring it out and kind of, you know, building pockets of people who were...
I think we had sessions. We had hip-hop sessions that happened every week. And we'd move from one location to another. Okay. Within Soweto.
Just like venues, backyards.
Yeah, just like we're doing.
Yeah.
We'd hit like your Blue Bar.
Yeah.
Move from Blue Bar to Laundry.
Yeah. Depending
on what is happening. But we had it every month. There was Splash Jam. There was Dungeon Shack. There was 1808. There was Slages.
Okay.
And we moved. We knew where to go. And this happened almost every Sunday. And this is where the hip-hop communities were meeting up.
Right. I guess the beauty of that is, you know, you're not just stuck in that one spot. You get a little bit of trickle from people who would go to different venues.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to have it a moving thing.
Yeah. So it got us exposed to what other townships around us are doing and sounding like.
Oh, right. So you actually got a good insight into the different...
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Scenes and stuff,
because it was happening in the same... So it was like one little... We call it a country, though. It's like our little country.
Sure, yeah.
But everybody is got their own styles within it. Like,
okay.
My hood, Middlelands, is known for the hardcore boom bap rap.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you go into deeper Soweto, your Dobsonville, and your Snake Parks. There's Snake Park is a hood, by the way.
Okay.
There's guys who do like your we call it vernacular rap, rapping in your hardcore home language.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Cool, yeah.
And then you go into your Pimville, Dube, and you find almost like the commercialness of hip hop.
Little radio polish on there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everybody had something to contribute, and we would meet up once every week.
Yeah.
To just see what's new, who's hot, you know.
Were there ever any like clashes or anything in that?
Always.
Yeah.
Hip hop has got turmoil everywhere.
I
tension.
guess you know, but like my experience, you know, and I guess the Melbourne pocket, and you know, my entry is, you know, it's pretty quiet and calm. You know, from my experience. So I think for me, it's interesting, like actually just hearing the clash and the tension, and you know the forces interacting with each other, and I guess you know that's a result that results in a massive amount of raw energy and a lot of engagement, right? When people talk about engagement on social media and all that kind of stupid shit, it's like that real life engagement was probably
man. There was beefs. There was being booed off the stage.
Hey, people are a little bit more harsh and critical.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, funny enough, just to touch on the booing, that built a whole lot of artists being booed off stage. They don't do it nowadays. But trust you me, being booed off stage made who I am today.
Well, I don't think there's anything better for actual character building, and there's nothing better than like having that feel of revenge or redemption, right? It's like this redemption arc. There's, you know, some of the biggest hero journeys are always that redemption arc where there's this mad fail.
Straight up.
There's a choice. There's a choice of just giving up.
Yep.
I mean, like, fuck it. It is too tough or whatever.
That's it.
But I'm glad you say that, you know, like, it's, I guess that really translates to the world of, you know, stand-up comedy and, you know, you don't just get good without feeling horrible and shit and fucking it up and people giving you no feedback, you know?
That's it. And then you look at how now that element does not exist.
Yeah, totally.
Look at the artists that are coming out now. Everybody's confident in what they're doing because nobody's giving them criticism.
Yeah, regardless of quality.
Yeah. Now everybody thinks they can do it. And when they come through and try it in our faces, we can't boo them. We have to be polite. Yeah, you're great.
That frustrates you a lot?
It does.
Yeah.
Because how I was built, it was hard, bro. It was like you had to earn it.
Yeah.
If you say you're great at this, do it in front of a bunch of people. And if they agree with what you are saying, then probably you're right.
Yeah.
But if they don't, you got to go back home and do 100 push-ups before you come back on the stage and do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lesson. It was harsh, but it was a reality check on whether you sure about you know how to do this or you need time to practice.
Because otherwise, what does it mean? What are the stakes? You know, it doesn't mean much to be a hip-hop artist if you haven't got, you know, the validation or the credibility from the crowds and people in it, you know?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because nowadays, anybody can rap, dog. Anybody can get on stage and
So I found myself here.
But you're a dope MC, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
We're fine.
You're fine.
Plenty to learn.
Still, but that's what I'm saying. There's room to learn.
Yeah.
There's always room to learn. When people tell you, yo, dog, that was whack. Yo, dog, work on your choruses. Yo, dog. Like, I literally had a friend of mine. Okay, he was a friend until he didn't like my criticism.
Yeah.
And then it offended him, and I was like, but dude, we were built this way. You're not going to take it from me?
Right, that's crazy, yeah.
So we hang out. We go to all these shows. We kill every show, but homie does not rap. Bear in mind, this guy does not rap. He's just with us. You know what I mean?
All right, just part of the crew.
And and he's absorbing all this influence and all of that.
Yeah.
One day we're writing a song. Yeah, I'm writing with you guys. Cool. You can write. Let's go. Write. And then when it's time to record, he starts kicking it. We're like, dog, you need to work on 1, 2, 3 of your work. And then, you know, the next track, probably you'll be better.
Yeah.
We were giving him constructive criticism.
Yeah.
To a point where he felt like, nah, you guys think. I'm whack. You guys, we're like, no, we don't think you whack. We saying
Yeah.
you still need like 50 more push-ups to go.
Yeah.
Do 10 next week. Do 10 another week.
Yeah.
By the time we do this, you'll be a solid MC. And he thought, nah, because he didn't understand. We did our time. We paid our dues.
Right.
He's just trying to start and just ride with the wave because he knows he has us.
Right. But there shouldn't be any easy entry.
It's something new. It's either you're going to learn it or you're not going to do it at all. Because if you're going to learn it, you're going to learn it and do it right.
And you have to be comfortable with being shit at it.
Yeah.
Certainly initially, yeah.
Because eventually, it might not be us, but then you're going to kick to a battle rapper. He's going to diss you. Are you going to be ready?
Well, that's the other thing. You're actually preparing them for everything that could happen in that world, in that scene,
That's
in that
it.
atmosphere.
You know?
Yeah.
And from then on, he just decided, nah, I don't want to mess with these guys. And then he stopped hanging with us. And then he was hanging with other peeps, and it was like, okay, so you're going to do what we are trying to teach you. You're going to just continue doing what you want to do with them because they're not going to judge you or they're not going to give you constructive criticism because they already know you hang with us. So you validated.
Yeah. He actually just fucking sideswiped that cloud.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, all right, now if you want it that way, it's all good, bro. It's all love. You know what I mean? So that era of building up MCs and correcting them in the right way does not exist anymore. And these kids just pick up wherever they are and they just go.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what, I experience this a lot. There's an artist that's been, making music in their bedroom.
Yeah.
They make it sounds, cool. Like, it sounds great. It sounds whatever. You can kind of make anything sound good these days, I guess.
True.
But, then they book a show or whatever, and you come out and you see them live, and they have no idea what it means to hold it down. They don't really know how to interact with other people or an audience, They don't necessarily feel comfortable, and then they've got all their vocals in the backing, in the backing track, and they're just not they're not holding down their bars or their verse on the spot.
That's it. Like there's something that I saw last week. A guy was like, if you need auto-tune to sing, you're not a singer.
Yeah, don't sing. Get somebody else to sing.
If you need backing tracks to rap or a full song to rap over, you're not a rapper. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you can't do it with just the instrumental, then what's going on? What are you doing?
Right.
So how do you practice? I was watching this other guy perform. I'm not even going to mention names.
Yeah, of course.
This guy was performing on, his song was playing at the background.
Yeah.
And he's rapping. And there's a point where he's like, oh man, my breath is, I'm running out of air, man. And in my head, I'm like, dude, Big Pun. Do you know Big Pun?
Right.
Big Pun rapped his ass off, and he was 10 times bigger than you are.
Right, probably smoked a lot more
Bro,
too. Yeah.
With no backing music.
Yeah, just ready to go.
And you out here doing your thing with backing music, and you telling me you're tired? You just need to keep quiet, and the song just keeps playing.
Right. Yeah, you could just be moving your mouth. You can get away with it.
You know
kind
what I
of,
mean?
almost. Not really.
And if artists are going to really push that kind of mandate of just getting on stage with music on without... What are you practicing?
Well, what are you even performing?
What are you even learning?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, because I actually find that I learn the most running something live. Because every single time you fuck up a bar or a lyric or a timing of something... because the stakes are a bit higher and it's a bit more serious in your mind and you dwell on it a bit more, it's like, okay, I just have to fucking fix whatever I fucked up then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if people aren't running their stuff live or without lyrics, or another thing that I find is a good way to approach it is, you just go to a poetry or spoken word night and you do your stuff a cappella, so you can figure out all of that, like how your mouth can move around, words, timing, cadence, flavors. How to hold a room that's quiet and it's just you. I think, and the stakes aren't as high as in terms of people getting booed or whatever. But I think you get to have a sense of how it's feeling live in the room. Then and there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to even know when you've made a mistake. You would feel it.
Yeah.
And you need to learn how to even control yourself when you make a mistake without the beat there.
Yeah, how to react.
How to keep going.
Yes.
Because there's people who would make a mistake and be like, oh man, can we start that again? Can we start that? You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
Or they don't even know what to do. Because it's one thing, because that's one of the best options.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, all right, pull up, let's acknowledge and let's fucking reset.
Yeah.
I got this. Don't worry. You know, you can count on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can.
How you do it? How do you pick up?
Right.
You need to learn how to pick yourself up without help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to know how to do that. Because if you don't know how to do that, even in a cipher, you'll be like,
It's a bummer for everyone else.
And half the time, the people that are listening to you are not even seeing that you're doing a mistake.
Oh, they.
You are in your head.
Yeah.
You mess up in your head, and then you showing us now that, hey man, I messed up, man. We didn't hear that.
Yeah, we had no idea.
And then we're like, oh man, okay, do it again.
Right. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, because I mean, look, you know, if you're performing, you're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, true.
You know,
Facts.
Look, you know, even if you practice a whole lot, and obviously, like I would encourage everyone to absolutely practice as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
But you always have to prepare for the worst case scenario, whether that is remembering lyrics. You know, if you don't remember a couple bars, you have to at least be good with timing and know like the arrangement of the track, so you can come in at a certain point. Or if you've got the skill of being able to freestyle and you're only fucked up towards the end of the verse and you can just throw a couple lines in there just to fucking blend it into the hook or chorus, then all this kind of stuff is
it's learning.
It's learning, and it's stagecraft. It's
learning, fam. I'm still learning to this day. Every time I'm on stage, you might look at it as if it's easy because of my experience. But trust you me, I'm on there learning or trying to do something a bit different.
Right, you're not looking to repeat the same thing over and over and over again. These has to be unique experiences for both you and the audience.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's about breath control.
Yeah.
I'm on stage trying to see how long I can last.
Yeah.
I'm on stage trying to see how clear I can sound.
Yeah, the enunciation, and
you know what
I've been working on that a lot more. Just actually trying to warp my mouth around the words to really.
You're constantly working, and you need to realize that. That's how you grow yourself as an artist.
And you should be thankful for any kind of criticism or feedback that you get. You know,
trust.
Because if somebody says something, then it's certainly obvious enough to fucking work on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
People aren't just saying it just because of, you know,
that's true.
Whatever.
That's true, man. Like that's a responsibility of an artist to always learn and listen. Be a good listener as well. Not to say you need to take everything in that you're told, but learn. You know where you messed up.
Yeah.
Go fix it.
Yeah.
And then listen to what other people are saying and probably add a little bit of spice to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everybody's there in that room with you, hyping you up, giving life to this energy that is being created, and they're contributing by their existence.
Yeah.
And yours as well.
Yeah.
So it's only right to take a little bit of something they give you.
Yeah, I mean, if they're offering it for it, you should be thankful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you are half of a group called Breaking Bread?
Yeah.
What'd you call yourself?
Breaking Bread Productions.
Breaking Bread Productions.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk us through a little bit what's that about, who's involved, what you guys are about, and what you guys have done?
Yeah.
And what we're about to do.
Breaking Bread Productions is myself and T.
Yeah. Shout out to T.
Yeah, from Fat, Fried, and Tasty.
Best
chicken in
town.
Melbourne.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah, me and him, Breaking Bread Productions, and we are for the culture. we work with the culture, and we network within the culture.
Yeah.
So Breaking Bread Productions is hosting events. It's putting network sessions with artists to come through at Fat and eat and talk, get to know each other. Basically, we exist in a way that brings the culture together.
Right.
And encourages togetherness, to work together, to create together, because hip-hop is ours. It's not one person's thing. You know what I mean?
It's a shared thing.
Yeah, we all contribute towards it, and we are trying to put a spotlight on people who are actually working together to grow this culture we love called hip-hop.
So active people. We want to work with active people.
Yeah. And even those that are not active, we exist so that they can have an example of what it looks like to be active.
Right.
And they can be encouraged to want to be active.
Okay, cool. So it can be a platform or a group or collective that kind of invites and encourages people to get in, kind of shows them what it looks like and gives them, we were talking about confidence earlier, and how that's something you have to develop over time. Obviously, you see that need in other people, and you want to help harness and grow that.
Yeah, I mean, that mostly happens at the networking sessions.
Yeah.
If I've seen you perform and we're having a conversation about performing, I drop it in there. Like, the last performance I saw was dope, but you know what I mean? There's always a but. Because not everybody is a yes man, and they'll be like, yeah, no, you dope. No, I'll give my 2 cents at it and be like, yo, dog, but next time, don't look down or don't perform to the DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll give my 2 cents. So
Yeah.
those are the kind of environments we're trying to create where we are all learning. Not to say everybody must be a rapper or everybody must be a DJ or any part. Because we need lawyers in hip-hop.
Yeah.
We need, managers. We need
admin,
so many different categories
promoters
that already exist.
They just need to be
they're
connected.
existing individually. They need to connect.
Yeah.
And we are trying to be the connectors, the plugs.
So how did you initially meet up with T, and then how did you two come to the point of like, we have to do something and this is what it looks like, this is what it will be?
This happened on my journey of trying to find hip hop.
Right.
I meet up with Deets from the Get Down. Shout out Deets.
Yeah, shout out Deets. Yeah, he's been him and the Get Down have been holding it down for ages.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, they were one of the biggest kind of entities of putting on gigs.
Okay.
People. Yeah. No, I've been to a ton of their gigs.
Okay.
Going back 4+ years
Dope.
ago. Yeah.
And I found Deets doing my research online.
Oh, there we go.
I look Instagram, I find the Get Down. I'm like, hey, this is dope. What is this?
Yeah.
I hit up Deets. I didn't know he was Deets there. Now go in. I'm like, yo, how do I get to perform on this platform? What do you need from me?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, we need to meet up sometime and then we'll chop it up. And then we made a time, and then we met up, and we chopped it up, and it was cool. I was cool. I was like, yo, man, you dope, man. You got to put me on.
Hey.
Just like Yankee. I was like, yo, whatever you're doing, whatever's happening, just let me know. You know?
Yeah.
And then a week later, he had a dinner at Fat.
Yeah, right. There you go.
And then he invited me. Initially, it was the second Breaking Bread networking session.
Okay, so so T and Deets were already like
T and
pals
Deets
and
are
stuff?
homies.
Yeah, okay.
T had dinners where he was just calling people up.
Ah, right.
Saying, yo, let's chill. Let's chill and eat.
Yeah.
So the second one that happened, Deets pulled me up like, yo, pull up, come meet some homies.
Yeah.
I pull up, and then he introduced me to some homies and introduced me to the T.
Yeah.
And me and T just clicked right there. Like, yo.
Cool.
I remember leaving them like, yo, bro, I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, holla at me.
Yeah.
And then I left. And the next day, T was like, yo, were you serious about saying whatever I need? I can holler at you. I'm like, yeah, what you need?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to have another dinner, bro. Let's chill and talk, and I just want to hear where you at.
Yeah.
And let's see if there's a common ground. And we did that. We chopped it up and realized, hey, bro, we could actually work together in making something. Because I see what I see, you see what you see.
Right.
And it feels very common.
Yeah.
So let's just do it together.
But there's two quite different perspectives in it, I guess.
Two different perspectives. Because I'm coming from the artistry as an artist.
Yeah.
And an event organizer as well.
Right.
And graphics. And so many other,
Yeah.
And T comes from the supporting side where he is a head.
Yeah.
T is a hip-hop head. He loves and knows hip-hop.
Yeah.
And he loves the culture. And he wants the same thing I want, where we want to see it united.
Yeah.
Because there's so many dope people working in their own little corners.
Yeah.
Why? And then we were like, you know what? Let's bring them all together, man. Let's make that our mission.
Right.
And then we agreed on it, and then we were like, yeah, man, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
I think it's so funny how something as simple as sharing food together can be one of the most rewarding experiences when it comes to connecting, gluing and gelling people together, providing an opportunity to have any kind of talk about what's happening. Because I went to my first Breaking Bread on the past Thursday. And
Yeah.
it's just so good, There's like way more unfamiliar faces than familiar faces.
Yeah.
But everyone is just wanting to kind of connect and talk about their thing. Like the context has already been set.
Yeah.
And then, there's already a high level of enjoyment from the food.
Yeah.
It's almost hard not to chop it up with everyone else.
Yeah.
And I think I met a couple of people there that, I'd loosely met at other events.
Ah, yes. Now you got a chance to actually engage with them.
Totally, and get like the story behind the face and but then also meeting completely new different people as well. Yeah. And I think just even if Breaking Bread was just like the networking meetup side, I think that would be powerful within itself. But you guys have already put on 1 or 2 gigs.
We've done 3.
3. Yeah. Laundry, 2 Cactus, is that right?
Yeah, Laundry, 2 Cactus. The third one at Cactus was
Ruckman.
Yeah, Ruckman.
Yeah.
And now we're working on our... Actually, it was 2, because the first one was the showdown at Laundry.
Yeah.
And that was sold out, and then we did the Ruckman one.
Right, I was thinking about...
the other one was the charity event.
Yeah.
Rep Your Hood.
Yeah, with Cooper, Martian.
Yeah, we were supporting that gig.
Right, I was thinking about Kudos's album launch.
No, Kudos's album launch.
That was a separate thing.
That was a separate thing.
Yeah.
And then now we're working on the Legends event that's happening on the 24th of November 2023.
Tell us about Legends. Tell us what's happening, who's on, and why people should come out.
Legends is us giving flowers to the legends that have been rocking since day one here in Melbourne for now.
Yeah.
We have the legendary Enfa Jones.
Powerful.
Mantra.
Huge.
Motley.
Insane.
Kudos.
Quality.
2207.
Hey.
With mishap on the decks.
It's a dream team.
Bro.
And then I'm
excited to
be
emceeing. Yeah, I'm hosting.
Hosting it up.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I'm excited to be around them because, like I've been saying, I'm learning. So this is my time to be on stage, and I'm honored to be calling them out on stage.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm gonna be standing there with everybody else.
Yeah.
Watching this happen because
I've
never seen it happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean. Those big names together, I'm not sure if they've all like shared, because Enfa Jones and Mantra have been around for 20, 25 years or however fucking long. I mean,
they've been doing it.
And both made incredible impacts. You know, if you talk to people like Kudos or, you know, a few other heads, like they'll say that people like Mantra are just massive inspirations, you know?
Yeah.
So that's huge. How did you collect the crew? Did you and T just reach out and they were good to go, or?
Yeah. We sat down first with T and just thought of what our last show should look like.
Yeah, to wrap up the year.
Yeah, to wrap up the year, and we were like, but nobody's giving legends a spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's hit up the legends.
Oh.
It's like, yeah, I know a few. Let me hit them up. And they started calling them up, and everybody was like, all right, we want to hear more. And then we set up a dinner at Fat, and we sat down with everyone and told them, yo, this is what we're thinking.
Yeah.
We want you guys a part of it. If you're down, let us know. If not, tell us your concerns, and let's see if we will meet them somewhere.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, no, dude, we down. You know? And Mantra hasn't even been rapping for he's been AWOL for like a year.
Totally.
Even like he's been off grid.
Yeah.
So when I heard his story, I was like, man, people are actually excited to see you.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a bit of a comeback gig.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is what the culture is about. We need to also commemorate our legends and show them love, man.
Yeah, not forget about them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, they're still here. They paved the way. So it's only right for the young ones to know who they are and see how they did their thing.
Right.
And have a chance to talk to them and get some advice and learn.
Bridge that gap.
Yeah, because how are we teaching the young ones how to move if we don't involve them in these kind of spaces?
Right, show them the legends in the game.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like we were saying now that these kids just picked up the mic and started rapping, and they looked good on the mirror, like, yeah, man, I'm good at doing this. And they just stepped out and did it. You know what I mean? Without actually getting some sort of guidance.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's worse because we don't know how to reach them to guide them. Because
that is true.
So much happening around their world that we're close to seeming boring.
Well, there's almost like a technological gap between, you know, if anybody's, between 5 and 10 years younger than us, I mean, it's a completely different world, you know, the way they interact and what they interact with and, you know, how they think it's even meant to look and sound like and be.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So whereabouts is the venue? What's the venue?
It's at Leadbeater Hotel.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty massive.
Yeah, and we've already sold 3 phases of our tickets. We're on our last phase.
Damn. Okay, so you got to snap them up quick.
Yeah. Get those tickets, man. Get those tickets ASAP.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be one great hip hop night, especially one for, I'd say, the underground.
Yeah.
Hip hop. You know what I mean? That boom bap.
All the heads.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's rare to find dope spaces.
True.
That actually play what you really want to hear.
Yeah, and that support that kind of thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so this is one of those. So if you're looking for that, this is the place to head out and go check out.
Well, big ups to you and T and Breaking Bread.
Big up, fam.
You know, I think that what you guys are doing for, you know, the community is real. It's impactful. It's great. You know, it's a whole lot of value and goodness.
No, big up. We learning, like we're saying, man. We keep learning. We keep learning and trying to improve the ways of how to move. You know what I mean? And how to include others and encourage them to always be useful. There's a thing that says that if nobody uses you, you're useless.
Yeah, that's true. You got to have some utility, right?
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
We're trying to get everybody just active and realizing they have potential.
Yeah.
And not everybody will recognize it, but the few that do, you know, work with them and improve yourself.
Hey. Well, you know, the podcast is Grounded with DillyDave. I would, I'd be crazy if I didn't ask you if there was anything that you did to kind of help you keep on track, keep level-headed, keep grounded in terms of like a daily or weekly practice that, you know, kind of helps center and ground you. Is there anything that you do?
Bro, I've given up so many times in my life and then I've dusted myself off so many times in my life.
Yeah.
That is what keeps me going. Knowing that not everything is going to go my way, but I got to keep going anyway.
So it's more about the mentality or the mindset that enables you to bounce back.
Yeah. So it's the resilience. Knowing that I exist and I have something to contribute in this world.
It's purpose.
That's it. That's what keeps me going. Now I've got kids and it's another reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
Yeah. That's something you don't even really have to, it's just there that you have
there.
to tend to.
You know what I mean? And they're going to get to a certain age where they now wise up and know what's what.
Right.
And they should be looking at me like, dude, you worked your ass off. You did this.
Right.
Because, you know, they're still going to grow up. And, I mean, already my son is just like, yeah, you're not cool, man. I'm like, all right.
Give me some cred.
I'm not cool. I know I'm not cool. You know, it's all good. But tell me that 10 years from now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When you know the story.
Yeah, when you now know. Because right now, you're the coolest person in the house. You know, you do all the cool stuff in the house. We boring.
True.
You know what I mean? But it's cool.
True.
It's your turn. It's your time to be cool.
Yeah, to have the attention on you.
10 years from now, you're going to sit back when you understand and are more mature. You will tell me if I'm cool or not. For now, let me not be cool, but let me keep moving. Let me do my thing. You know what I mean? Because at the same time, I'm trying to show him that I'm putting my all in what I like. I'm doing what I like, and I'm telling you, this is what I want, and I'm going for it.
Yeah, it's cool and fun to commit to that and be all in.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And he knows how I am received, or I'm respected in South Africa. He knows, you know, here is like, you nobody knows you. Like, all right, it's all good. And then the other day we were walking and we were at Crook's Barber, and everybody was like, yo, Shynin.
Hey.
And then he looked at me. He's like, I think you're becoming cool, but I don't know. I'm like, it's all cool. So it's all good, man. You want the whole world to call my name? We'll get there.
We're getting there. We're on our way, kid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's it, man.
That's cool. I really appreciate you sharing, man.
Yeah,
thanks so much for coming on.
Big up.
Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with before we kind of sign off and wrap it up?
I'll leave you guys with one thing. Never give up.
Okay.
You only live once. And you only die once. Well, actually, you live forever. You die once. That's,
powerful.
Yeah. So do everything that you can while you're still here. Show the people that you love them. And be you to your best potential. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Live, laugh, and live.
Powerful. I love it. Appreciate it, man.
Fam? It was real. Yo, by the way, keep checking out this podcast, man. Don't sleep on the monkey bar, kid.
I love that. F you, Nestle. All right, catches.